What if I told you that some of the things you consider your strengths are actually your weaknesses? What if the barrier between you and where you want to be is a behavior you're refusing to change because you think is a flex? I hear people say certain things and I'm wondering if they know that people around them are taking note of those things and is actually going to work against them in a lot of situations. Yes, we listen, we don't judge, but I tell you for free, when push comes to shove or when people need to do things of important degrees, they will put those things into consideration and it is going to work against you. But because I love you and I don't want you to be working against your own success, I'm here to tell you a few things that you actually think is a flex, but they are weaknesses you need to work on. The first one is not being able to make small talks. I've heard people say it very often, both online and even on physical interactions, that they don't make small talks, and from the tone of voice they're expecting some form of applause for not being able to do that. But in reality, not being able to make small talks is a deficit in your social skills, and it shows your inability to make meaningful connections with people you don't know, which is a skill you cannot afford to not have in this age and time where people are profiting off networking both online and offline. One thing people fail to understand is you cannot even go on to have deeper conversations with someone when you did not start with a small talk. If you want to make a practice of this, you can compliment people, you can ask about what their week was like. If you're at an event, you can ask them if they're enjoying the event and what the highlight of the event has been for them so far, and just take it up from them. The second thing is not having friends. It's alarming the number of people who brag about not having friends. I get it, you're an adult now, you've had unpleasant experiences with friends, but still not having one person in your corner speaks volume about you. As much as you're guarding yourself and putting boundaries in place, there will be one or two people who are still willing to be in your corner. But if everybody is abandoning you, if everyone around you is unfaithful, is not trustworthy, it tells a lot about your ability to make quality decisions when it comes to friendships. So if that is really the case, then you need to work on yourself in terms of choosing the right friends for yourself. As much as you like to deny it, you say you're fine without friends. We are human beings, we are built for connections, and friends are not just there for fun, for hanging out. You need people for emotional support, you need them for guidance. You cannot exist in isolation and expect to make the best out of life. The third one is similar to the second one, and that's not being friendly. Like, I'm not a friendly person, my face looks mean, and sometimes they equate being friendly to being a people pleaser or being fake, but that's not what it is. This is simply you being approachable. You don't have to be smiling all the time, but you have an open body language that allows people to approach you in a healthy way. And let's be honest here, people are sentimental. There are a lot of things that will not come to you because you're just unfriendly. There are people who are willing to help you or people who are willing to work with you, but because they are making a decision based on who they are seeing or the body language you're showing them, they won't be willing to work with you, and that's going to be a huge disservice to yourself. Another thing people think is a flex is getting angry easily. You hear people say things like, don't provoke me, or everybody knows I get angry easily, everybody stay clear, I get angry very easily, I don't take rubbish. Okay, volcanic eruption erupts, let fire and brimstone erupts. It's rather unfortunate that you think that your inability to manage your emotions is a strength. Let me be the one to tell you the truth. If the only thing that satisfies your dissatisfaction is rage, you need Jesus and therapy. Another one is being argumentative. I'm not talking about people who genuinely bring out points to support their claims. I'm referring to those who just argue for the sake of arguing. They know what you're saying is true, but they just have to argue it. They just must have the last say in anything. One thing I find really interesting with people like that is most times they argue from an emotional point of view. A lot of times they're not bringing any logical points to support what they're saying. Sometimes they are screaming at the top of their voices and they are almost engaging in a physical fight just to prove a point. Being argumentative is a sign of poor listening skills. Because if you have good listening skills, you're able to listen to what the other person is saying and be able to present your case in a better way. And even when you notice it's not going in the way you're expecting it to go, you at least know that you're not making any headway and maybe it's time to end the conversation. But it's a terrible thing that every time you have a conversation with anybody, even from a harmless point of view, when they're trying to express their opinions, even when they're trying to tell you about something you did to offend them, it ends up in argument. You're actually robbing yourself of meaningful relationships, because what will happen eventually is nobody will want to engage you in any conversation, and really the loss is on you, because you would never know the truth, because nobody's going to be willing to tell you, because of course nobody wants to argue with you, and you keep making mistakes and nobody will correct you. Another common behavior people think is a flex is being late. Like people who deliberately come late to events and are happy about being late. It's even worse when they laugh at people who come early or people who are in the habit of attending events early. I remember some time ago, someone asked me to accompany her to somewhere and we agreed on a time and location. When it was time, I got there right on time. And I gave her a call like, okay babe, where are you? And she's like, why am I so early? I was taken aback. Like, we literally agreed on this time. So what, I'm just on time. I'm not too early. I'm not late. I'm just on time. And she really got offended that I should know that she usually comes late. I should know that when she says 2 o'clock, she actually meant 2:30 or 3. I couldn't make sense of the whole situation. Anyways, but honestly speaking, being late is bad behavior. Even now that I'm a mom and I have more responsibilities, sometimes I still struggle to plan myself properly, and I find myself coming in a little bit after the scheduled time. But these days, I'm actively putting systems in place to make sure that I arrive on time, regardless of what the occasion is. Another set of people who think their behavior is a flex are people who can keep malice for years. How do you pride yourself in keeping malice with someone for years and we're supposed to clap for you for that? How do you feel comfortable not talking to the person and you're not trying to resolve the issue? And it's worse when the person is trying to talk to you but you just want to prove that I can live without you. One thing people like that fail to understand is they're punishing themselves. Eventually those people move on, but you're the one with the baggage. So if you have any of these behaviors, I genuinely plead with you to include them in the things you need to work on. Include them in your 2025 goals and commit actively to improving those aspects of your life, because they are robbing you of meaningful relationships, of meaningful connections, and so much more things you're unaware of. So let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. What other behaviors do people think is a flex but it's actually not? Thank you so much for watching, and as usual, like this video, and if you've not subscribed, subscribe and join me on this channel. Let's grow into a better version of ourselves, one video at a time. See you in my next video. Bye.